This episode of RŌL Radio is brought to you in cooperation with Sophia McDermott's Girls on Top. Girls on Top is a women's-only, live, interactive jiu-jitsu and fitness platform. It is a place where women can safely train and work out with their very own custom training dummy and learn women-specific jiu-jitsu, all within a supportive and uplifting community. Check out Girls on Top at www.girls-ontop.com. It is also brought to you by Sophia Fit, where you can find personalized fitness and diet plans, workout videos, live stream workouts, and much more. You can also find the latest information about Sophia's lifestyle camps and weekend retreats. These camps and retreats focus on all aspects of health, fitness, and wellness in unbelievable settings. Get all the info at www.sophiafit.com. On this episode of RŌL Radio, we have four-time Pan American champion and the very first Australian female BJJ black belt, Sophia McDermott. Sophia shares how she has persevered over the challenges and discrimination she has faced throughout her life. First as a sickly child who, with the help of her mother, changed her medical treatment and unleashed a top-level child athlete. Then to being laughed at when shortly after starting jiu-jitsu, she declared she would one day be the first Australian female black belt. And even now, as she tries to change the culture of BJJ, making it a more inclusive and safe place for women in a male-dominated community. Here's RŌL Radio with the incredibly strong-willed and determined Sophia McDermott.
Welcome to RŌL Radio.
And we're live. Gary, how are you?
I'm great. I'm super excited about today. I think we're going to have a very interesting conversation, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Sophia, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Listen, we've met, it's been several years now, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
I remember the
has.
first time you came to my academy.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long time ago, several years. And I remember thinking at that time you were, well, to this point, you were one of the most known jiu-jitsu females in jiu-jitsu community. But at that point of time, I was thinking, I can't believe that she's actually visiting here. I mean, there is a certain weight that your name carries all throughout all of this. And I'm really happy that you are able to join this conversation today, because we'll talk about some important things, particularly focusing on how in the world you are doing everything that you are doing, running several businesses, having family and traveling, and then teaching jiu-jitsu on the top of it. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah,
Yes.
two little girls under 10. I've got two kids under 10 as well, and I can barely get through the day, and I'm their mom's with me and stuff, so I don't know how you get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we get there, tell us how all of this started, because your journey is quite interesting. I understand this all before jiu-jitsu. You were very engaged with gymnastics. A lot of people don't know that. Tell us a little bit about that.
I started gymnastics. Maybe let's go back a little bit further. My childhood was something quite interesting. Most people don't know about this, and looking at me, they would not believe it. I was a very sick child, in and out of hospital with chronic asthma. So I used to have these constant asthma attacks and then wake up from kind of dying of out-of-body experiences or passing out in hospital beds. And I was a runt, skinny, really sick. And it wasn't until I was 11 that I actually defied my doctor, because he ordered me to take more drugs and more medication, which were actually rotting my teeth and breaking my bones. And I stood up to him, and I went to a naturopath. I asked my mum to take me to someone like holistic. And in 3 weeks, this doctor changed my life, and my asthma almost disappeared. And I started to understand food, stress, more natural way of living and how it could affect you. And then I started gymnastics. So I started gymnastics later because I was sick, but then when I got better, everything like, whoa, it was crazy. So I was like this untapped genetic freak, if that makes sense, where I was sick and little and runty with like damaged lungs from everything I'd experienced, but with the genetics kind of, okay, let's put it this way. The first year of hard training in gymnastics, my twin sister and I, we put on around 20 pounds of muscle. And we just like, boom. And so we just turned into these athletes. And that was who I was. So it was a journey of being an athlete, but then having the background I had of being sick and understanding proper care and nutrition and health, and relationship with food and everything with health. So yeah, I went through gymnastics. And
how old were you?
So this all happened when I was 11. Yeah, changed my life. Yes. So then for another 8 years, I just did gymnastics, like pretty hardcore. Trained in the elite squad in my gym. I was too old to go to the Olympic squad. We missed the boat. But yeah, so that's the grounding for just being that athlete. And yeah, after that, I was needing to find something that gave me the same, like, as mental focus but physical challenge, if that makes sense. So I went on this journey of looking for sports, and then a couple of years later I found Jiu Jitsu, and I fell in love with it on the very first day, and realized I'd found my calling. I can't explain it any other way than that. I'm like, yeah, I found it.
Yeah.
And I made a note to myself and told a few people, and they all laughed at me. And I said, I am going to be the first female black belt of my country. And I'm going to win world championships and Pan Am championships. And I'm going to make massive changes in this industry.
Wait a minute. So
I just knew it.
How old are you at that point? I mean, I'm trying to establish a timeline here because there's a lot of stuff going on, right? So how old are you at the time?
About 20.
I was probably about 21.
So 21, and you say, first of all, I'm going to be the first black belt in my country. 2, I'm going to win all these championships. And then I'm going to make a fundamental impact to the way how Jiu-Jitsu community views women and myself.
Well, the quote I said was, I'm going to make waves. That's what I said.
Okay.
And right. So everyone laughed at me. I don't care. I honestly, so I've grown up living my life like I walk to the beat of my own drum, basically. Ultimate rebel, but rebel in a very subtle way. Yeah.
Why do you say subtle?
That's for another.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Since you've asked that question,
because I don't see it as subtle in any way. But
no, I will not come in and directly like confront and like, I'm not loud and okay. I'm silent behind the scenes, head down, just driving forward to my mission. If there's an obstacle, I will figure out how to go around it. And I learned all this from being at school, being in a very, very stuffy all-girls private school, which I just hated, where everything was about rules and conforming and, oh my God. And so when I say subtle, I learned very carefully to become my teacher's best friends, and they all loved me so that I could end up doing what I wanted to do, which was gymnastics and play drums and jump the school fence and go out for runs and do whatever I wanted in class time.
Oh, you're learning. You learn how to manipulate the system. Right?
But no, I didn't get into trouble because they loved me.
Right.
And then I did what was important to me, right? And so that's kind of, I know I probably shouldn't say this, but that's how I've lived my life, in the sense that I've figured out what's important. How do I get where I want to be to make everyone feel happy and comfortable and honor everyone? Because when you truly march to the beat of your own drum, and not let other people affect you, there are plenty around who are deeply offended by it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially in this country, I think a lot of people take things personally, and
absolutely.
and with today's presence of social media, this disengaged approach of human to human interaction, it almost doesn't exist, right? So people's like, you said this, you unfriended me. Oh, that's world ending situation.
That's it. Yep. And speaking up about something like political issues as well. So this, I mean, I'm jumping around a bit, but it's also, I have a presence on social media, but you'll see that I don't speak up about political issues, even though I have a very, very strong viewpoint about what's going on in the world right now. But I don't, because I don't want to upset people and ruffle feathers, yet I am still moving forward in my direction. Does that make sense?
It seems like a very focused, extremely focused, razor sharp focus approach to life, I guess. I mean, from 20 some or late teens to, you know, to this today, right?
This was way back. I probably realized what I was meant to do on this earth when I was 8.
Wow.
I know that sounds weird.
No, yeah. I mean, it's quite, you know, I have a difficulty wrapping my mind around this. Like, how do you do this when you're that young in your, I mean, I know when I was my teens, establishing a path for my life was the last thing on my,
I wasn't thinking anything about that.
climbing trees and doing crazy stuff, but so, okay, so you step on the mat for the very first time. You said you stop gymnastics, you go through this discovery journey. There's, you know, different things that you try. You step on the mat. What is so impactful on the mat that you say, oh, wait, whoa. This is it. This is it right now. I feel it. This is going to be my journey. I'm going to change things around the world.
Yeah. And I just knew it. I knew that jiu-jitsu was a vehicle. Just an inner knowing. That's all I can say. But it was the thing that was challenging me intellectually and physically. It was the both. That's what I was looking for. And so I made my little statement to myself and my family and my friends, and everyone laughed at me. And the reason why they did was because back then, so long ago, especially in Australia, you could have said, oh, I'm going to ride a flying pig. Like the highest belt female, the highest ranked female at that time was a blue belt. And there were about 3 male black belts in the whole country at that stage.
I was about to say, there's not many male black belts.
Yeah, so it was just this crazy statement, unheard of. But I don't know. It's like the 4-minute mile. That record wasn't broken for eons, obviously, and then when it actually got broken again a month later.
Absolutely.
So it's just mindsets, and it's like I've never been like that. Never in my entire life. I've always questioned things. Just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean it can't be done, which is why I'm the way I am. I'm behind the scenes doing my thing, trying not to ruffle feathers, because when I speak up a bit more vocally about things, that's when people try to stop me. They try to convince me what I'm doing is wrong. They think I'm crazy. They think I'm nuts. They get offended. So, okay, yeah, so I don't go there. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I'm more outspoken about this now because I'm further along in my journey.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I think that it's not unusual. Like, I didn't start jiu-jitsu until I was 46, and I remember being laughed at. Just because they're like, what are you talking about? You know, you're 46 years old. You shouldn't be doing stuff like this. And I was like, well, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And I'm going to regret this when I'm 56. You know, I'm really going to regret it when I'm 76. So it was like, just dive in, you know, and get going with it. So
that's fantastic.
Sounds like a similar, you know, kind of similar story, but
that's it. Yep. And other people are imposing all their own limiting belief factors onto you.
Yeah.
It's because they think that they couldn't do jiu-jitsu at 46.
Right. Yeah. Why not? You know?
Why not?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think when people come through the door and they're no matter what their state is, whether they're not fit, they're older, they have some sort of limitation. I think this is a great place for them to realize that they don't that's not going to hold them back. Or the other people in their lives either, that once they step on the mat, you know, they can achieve some pretty great things.
That's exactly it.
So I know you had a shoulder injury early on. Was this before jiu-jitsu or after?
Yes. Oh, right. Fabulous memory. So what cut short, well, even though I was older, it cut short my gymnastics career was a shoulder, a stress fracture through the joint. And as I kept growing, it got worse. So I couldn't keep going in gymnastics. So that's when I was like, ugh, okay, I can't finish my career the way I wanted to. I'm going to look for something else. So that's why I was on this thing. I was hunting for something because I wasn't
Gotcha.
done. But then when I realized I found jiu-jitsu, I was actually just starting. And now I'm doing another just starting. So it's gone in these waves, my life. Yeah. So yeah, started jiu-jitsu and just didn't look back because I knew it was my thing. And I wanted to be the best, the best that I could be, make my mark in Australia. I started competing overseas because I was starting to become a big fish in a small pond, even though more and more women and more people in Australia were starting. And then, yeah, just kind of worked my way up. But I actually got brought out to the United States. And yeah, that was a massive decision of my life because I left my business, my family, everything, and came over just knowing one person. And yeah, massive.
How was that
So
change in your life when you come to United States? You know, obviously there's a big decision, but how are the life changes for you between coming here to US and then, you know, your old country that you've been there for a couple decades
yes,
at that point, right?
yeah. Well, I'd say, you know, for anyone, it's a pretty courageous move. And I left my boyfriend at the time who I was living with. I left my little personal training studio that I had. So my interest in nutrition and how it affects your health, that carried forward. And I had that as a career. And that's what paid for my jiu-jitsu and my training and competing and traveling. So I kept doing that. So I left that studio, literally to just start from scratch with nothing but a dream of competing and winning more and being the best that I could be. But it didn't actually all go to plan because being a single female in America or a new country and being around a whole lot of Brazilian men, I was just like, oh my God, what's this? Like, there were things that I learned and experienced and just it was just like, it was a whole culture that I just was like, whoa, what's this? And so I just then went
There was a
in.
culture shock, the way how people act.
Massive.
Massive.
Yes. And I
How was
realized how naive I was. I was very naive. Yeah.
how was you training in Australia as a female? How many females did you have up to the point before you moved out to US?
I don't know. In the end, there was more and more, quite a few. So, you know, the competition was still good. And there were some girls coming up that were very good.
Did you have an opportunity to
Um,
train with females, or is it more of a competition level where you met them, you know, when you competed?
Great question. No, I didn't train with many females at all.
So
And I
that's
remember,
interesting.
yeah, which is one reason why I do what I do now.
Right.
So I
And I'm
remember
kind of leading.
competing. Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Like, competing, and this girl put her leg behind her head, and I'm like, what's this? I'm like, I haven't seen this before. I don't know how to deal with this because guys don't do that. And so I'm like freezing in the moment going, I really don't know how to deal with this. Thinking to myself mid-tournament, oh my God, okay, yeah, I need to train with more women. So, you know, look, I got by on just that hard work, dedication, and a lot of it was just sheer and utter athleticism. And that's what my gymnastics career had done for me. So talking about the start, how like I was a bit of a genetic freak, I mean that in all seriousness. I'm not kind of trying to blow my own trumpet, but I literally transformed my life from being this underdone, runty, underweight, skinny, sick kid to this beast with like bulging six pack and striations on the delts. And like as a kid though, like who has that? And I could climb a rope with no legs, up and down, and hold in a V-sit with my legs out like this, and then go back up and down like 4 times, and jump massive boxes with like sandbags across my back, like crazy stuff. And I thought that was normal in the end because that's what my whole team did. But that that is what carried me through to jiu-jitsu.
That had to help you training with all men in all men environments. I mean,
100%. Yeah. I would manhandle the men. I'm not joking.
I'm laughing. I can't stop myself from laughing visualizing this, but there is a serious topic behind all of this. I mean, you hear it on regular basis that I don't have other women to train with.
Mm-hmm.
Guys are stronger than me. They are bigger than me. There's a point of giving up for a lot of women, and we are not even touching the fact of I don't want to step into the room full of men.
Yeah.
Right. How in the world are you dealing with this? And we are talking about this is 10, 15, 20 years ago. This is not today.
Yeah. No. And the culture is very different. Again, circling back, it's one reason why I do what I do. So, the interesting thing about Australian culture, it can be very raw. It's like politically incorrect. So America's politically correct, and then Australia's politically incorrect. And so with that in mind, it's like being a female in this sport, they basically say, you got to tough it out or get out. There's no, oh, well, she's a woman, so we got to, no. So they'd literally feed you to the wolves. And if they approved of you, they'd add you to their hierarchy. And so I just put my head down and just grinded. But I remember in the early days, when came time to roll, because I'd be handed these massive big brutes, like blue and purple belt brutes, like massive guys too. And I'm like, I'd say a prayer, literally, not to win the battle, but for protection for my body. Like, please don't have my limbs broken. And then, I got better over time. But the first 2 years was 2 years of being steamrolled, literally. And it was nothing but perseverance that kept me through, because I had no support. Well, yeah, exactly. But
I mean,
you can't.
Again,
No,
I get it. But a lot of people
will quit.
A lot of people would quit. A lot of men in that situation would quit. And I'm not trying to discriminate one to the other or single things out, group people, because that's not politically correct today. But listen, that's the reality of things. Majority of men have a physical advantage over women.
Absolutely.
And you're putting yourself in these vulnerable positions.
Yeah.
Why didn't you quit? What continued pushing you forward?
Yeah. So I think circling back, and I love the way you're asking these questions, Thomas, because the whole story that we've shared so far, it all fits. The mental toughness that I developed from being so sick, I think had something to do with it. I experienced like some profound suffering, basically. And that just got me through a lot of it. I realized that I was extremely mentally tough, and I could deal with things on a physical level that most couldn't, which really ended up being a mental toughness. And although I was a beast of an athlete and I was strong, I am aware that I'm not as strong as these big guys, but I would just grin and bear it. I knew there was light at the end of the tunnel. But the other thing, it was a belief in myself. I knew I could do it. I just had to wait it out.
What I'm hearing,
so it all
go ahead,
comes into play. Yeah. The whole story, me being sick and then being this freak of an athlete in gymnastics and then dealing with that male crap. It's all part of the story that is now being played out and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that, training with females is important, but if you don't have that opportunity, there are other ways to do this. Is that what I'm hearing?
It depends what you want to get out of the sport. But I believe it's absolutely crucial on every level, actually, for women to train with other women. Obviously, number one, if you're a competitor, because training with men and then competing with women is very different. And that was my journey. I was like, oh God, what's this now? Oh my God, her leg's here. And okay. So there's the competitor aspect. But the other one is the sisterhood connection. And, a lot of women, if they're in a male-dominated field, they are ostracized. And I hear it over and over again. You know, the new white belt girl is like just put in the corner because she's an inconvenience. And no woman should ever be made to feel that way when she's actually putting herself on the line to learn something that is very intimidating. Like she should be given props for her courage to even get on the mat. And that should be encouraged. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so if men won't do it, and I'm not saying all men, but that was a culture back then for sure, then if there's other women, then the women will help cultivate that, provided they are supported by the other men. So this is all going into another big story. And on my bucket list, I've got this bucket list that's quite long, and before I die, I'm going to achieve every little bit of it. But one thing on my bucket list, I just love to do it. I want to get up on stage and do a TED talk. And I want to talk about this stuff. I want to talk about how, like, we live in a world that's a patriarchal system, and women who are unsupported in this patriarchal system that are successful, but they often cut other women down. And it all needs to be this cohesive group of support. And yeah, gosh, I'm sort of deviating, but it's just so interesting. And that's also one reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Women should never be cutting another woman down to size to achieve what they want to achieve, because women operate in a collective rather than a linear hierarchy, which is how males operate.
Yeah, I've had conversations with people where empowerment to me isn't when you copy what you've seen before you, right? So if women get together and they're just doing, making the same mistakes that men make or have made throughout time, it isn't going to be beneficial for them as a group. They're just, like you said, it's going to be cutthroat. They're going to start taking advantage of each other instead of achieving those goals or breaking those ceilings and things like that.
Yeah, but I'm talking about more of a system, something deeper.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Inherently, the male system is linear. There's the alpha male at the top, and everything trickles behind it. And if you look at Jiu Jitsu, which is patriarchal, look how we line up and look how we have belt ranks. Now, that system is not a natural system biologically that women thrive on. So on top of that, women have had to fit into this masculine-based system in order to get ahead, which actually is against them anyway. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. For a matriarchal system, there's no start, there's no end, it's circular. And which is why in all my women's groups, we do not line up. It's very symbolic.
Yeah. Can you describe?
It's the only way women can thrive. If there is a linear hierarchy, if like that for women, it doesn't work. And that's when the bitchiness and the cattiness start. So you go back to ancient tribes where, women were having babies and they'd all be breastfeeding and nursing. Just, do you know what I mean? It was like a collective thing. That's how women thrive. But women haven't been able to do that. They've been isolated. They've been having 8 babies back in, the 1800s on their own. This is not a situation where they can thrive, but it's where they've been thrown in because it's been a hierarchy, a patriarchal hierarchy, which has cut off their power.
Yeah, I think you're touching on something really, really interesting here, right? You're trying to.
It is, and going off field, but.
No, I think this is interesting stuff, because what you're trying to do is essentially you're trying to give females a vehicle for them to succeed. This is essentially saying, hey, listen, here's a screwdriver, here's a nail, put it in. And I mean, that's not possible, right? What you're saying is the current system doesn't work the way as it is for females. So you're trying to recreate this, not to take away from the sport or from the activity. You're trying to redefine the rules within that group that will work and maximize the success for women.
100%. Hit the nail on the head, Thomas.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Because a patriarchal system that is currently what's in place is not a way for women to thrive. But it's not just jiu-jitsu. And this is why I know that I've just hit the tip of the iceberg with my work. This is career as well. This is the workforce.
Yeah, and you know what? I've been quite outspoken about this for some time now. That's why it's so difficult for a male instructor to have that connection with a female group. There is something between women within the Jiu-Jitsu academy or with on the mat, whether they are in the same academy or not. There is that bond that a male instructor can never, ever tap into it. At least I have this awareness. And like, I know for a fact that what you provide to women around the world, I cannot come even close to that connection ever. And I think most of the males are in that position. Like it is almost impossible for us to do it. That's why there should be more female instructors. There should be more females in leadership, because ultimately what's happening is that Jiu-Jitsu community continues growing. Women become more empowered, and women continue training, and even more women starting to train Jiu-Jitsu, right? Because let's be honest. I mean, I know 20 years ago when I stepped on the mat for the very first time, I was intimidated. I was stepping into a freaking Shark Tank. Like, it was crazy. I cannot even remotely imagine a female doing the same thing. Now, today, world is different, right? But is it really? I mean, there's still an intimidation factor.
Yes. You know what? Jiu-Jitsu for anyone is intimidating, male or female. Right. Absolutely. I do believe it's more intimidating for females, but it is less intimidating now because there are more females who participate and more females in leadership positions. But just while we're there, I might tell you this quick little story of when I did first start training and I went to this new gym. I actually was in the fashion industry for a while. And so I'd meet with buyers and retail, whatever. I was in a tight little mini skirt and high heels. I remember exactly what I was wearing. Walked in. I just went, oh, this is a jiu-jitsu place. And the instructor looked me up and down and said, honey, you're in the wrong place. And I just went, oh, really? Yeah, massive stereotype. I think I'm blushing. But so he goes, no, the gym, the weights, the workout room, that's over the other side. Yeah. I just went, no, I'm exactly where I need to be. I said, take me to the change rooms. So that was it.
Do we want to know what happened after that?
Yeah.
It's so great. See, this is one reason why I just love it, because I break these stereotypes and I don't let it ruffle my feathers. There was another time years later, I was at the gym, and this was in the United States, and I'm looking for my weights I need, like the dumbbells, and I'm looking and everything's out of order and it's all messed up. I'm like, ugh. So there's this guy who's watching me, and he says to me, honey, the weights you're looking for are down that end. And that was like the light ones, like the 5 pounds and the 10 pounds. And in my head, I'm like, F you. So I just march up to the big heavy ones at the end, stack, and get the biggest ones that I know that I can handle. Just...
Priceless.
Ah, man. Yeah.
So
breaking those stereotypes.
Go ahead, Gary.
No, I was just going to say, you deal with it in a wonderful way of just of proving people wrong. But how do you deal with it? Because I think people internalize things like that sometimes. The honeys, the sweeties, all that type of stuff, that dismissive, those dismissive names that you have to deal with on a constant basis. And I'm sure you still are. How do you not let that bother you when you leave? How do you not dwell on it?
No, and I do still get it. I remember buying a mouth guard just actually before lockdown. And the guy instantly assumed it was for my child or my son. I'm like, okay, well, look, in his defense, it was a junior one because I got a small mouth. On no level did he think it was for me. Oh my God, it's hilarious. But no, I don't let it bother me because I realize it's their perception, not mine. That's their story. Yeah, and if you go through life, like I've learned not to go through life, like it's if people are offended, if they're upset, do you know what I mean? It's their problem, not mine. I just keep walking forward.
Beautiful.
But isn't that, hold on, so let me challenge you on this. Isn't it a very selfish way of looking at life?
No.
I'm not going to ask that because we've known each other for very, very many years.
Yeah,
but
love it.
Isn't that a selfish way of looking at life? I mean, this is their problem, not mine. Aren't we here to help people?
No, not at all. This is the way I think people should be leading their lives.
That's why I asked you.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
elaborate on
Because
that. Why
everyone
do you
is
think,
entitled.
why do you think I come first? Why I should be happy before I start making everybody else happy? Why is that important?
Well, okay, you're actually touching on two different things, but in my opinion, okay. Everyone is 100% entitled to their own opinion and their own perspective. And it's not my job to change their viewpoint. It's my job to live my life the way I see fit, provided that I'm doing good work and not, does that make sense?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Right. So for me to convince anyone and actually explain to that person that, oh, actually their mouth guard's for me. Why? It's fulfilling nothing but my own ego. He can think whatever he wants to think. Does that make sense?
Not only that, but convincing that person probably is nearly impossible because they already have preconceived idea of what they want to think.
100%. Especially when I go somewhere in like a little summer dress, my hair out. Like the idea that I even do Jiu Jitsu is hilarious. I've got this very traditional Asian tailor lady, and she remembers me. I don't even need to write my phone number or anything down for her because she's like, oh, beautiful face with body that does not match. It's so great. She like totally disapproves of my muscles because in that Asian culture everything's soft and, I said, I like cool. Well, at least she remembers me. So
there you go. You made a statement, right?
But back to your other question, Thomas. If you don't focus on yourself and fulfill your own happiness and honor yourself, no one else will. And you know this. If you spend your time putting someone else's happiness before your own, you live a life that's half-lived, full of guilt, resentment, emptiness, a lot of resentment, I believe. And you are the only one that's responsible for your own journey. And I choose personally to live my life with focus, knowing like achieving what I want to achieve, knowing hopefully that if I do achieve it, I'm making a difference to others and making their lives better too. And I hope that everyone has that focus as well, to put their happiness first and go about their life achieving the things that they want to achieve and the things that's important to them.
Yeah, I think people think that when you put your happiness first, that you're doing it out of selfish motivations or you're being mean, but I think you're giving back at the same time, because if you're not living that life, how are you ever going to give back to anyone else? You're just going to be, you're going to, like you said, you're going to be resentful. I see that a lot. And I think it's not being selfish at all, because you can't give back. I think
that's it.
There's two different types of giving, isn't there? There's purposeful giving, but then there's also just kind of, just doing for others, and that's not really giving back in any way. It's just kind of, I'm having a hard time explaining myself.
I understand. And those things, those people that always do things for others, okay, let's go deeper here. Why are they doing it? They're people pleasers. Why are they people pleasers? Do you see what I mean? It's because they don't have that confidence or that self-love inside of them, where they need to be constantly accepted by others from an outside source. That is a life half-lived as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, a few years back on this topic, I was speaking with somebody, and their comment stuck with me to this day, and said, we were talking about this fulfillment and helping people and being pleasers and taking care of yourselves first. And this gentleman said, there's a reason why when you're sitting on the airplane and the flight attendant explains before the flight, when the mask drops down, put your mask on first, then assist your child, which is very counterintuitive when it comes to being parent. I want to help my child first, but there's a reason why they do it. You can't help them if you can't breathe. You have to take a look at yourself first. You have to, in a way, let's call it what it is. It is a level of selfishness, but it's healthy. We need to take care of ourselves first. We have to. It's okay for me to look at me. It's okay for me to have my own goals. It's okay for me to drive for those goals and be successful, because when I'm successful, I will share that with you, and then you become successful.
That's it, Thomas. Exactly. And the other thing is being successful and owning it unapologetically. And that's also something that I'm seeing in this culture. It's like, this interesting dynamic where people are working and grinding and training and everything, but then when people start rising up and being successful, they feel like they can't fully own it. It's like, we should be allowed to be proud of our hard work and our success. We've got this one life. We may as well live it to the fullest.
Absolutely.
You know?
And often I actually see people focusing on the things that they don't do well versus the things that they do very well. We should focus on things actually that we should be proud of, things that we've accomplished.
Absolutely.
Whether it's jiu-jitsu or life or career, whatever it is, you got a promotion, you passed the guard, you achieved the gold medal, whatever floats your boat, whatever your success is, be proud of it for a moment.
Absolutely.
Don't only focus on the negative stuff or on the stuff that we have to get better at.
That's it. Yeah, life's too short. We should just, yes, I won, I achieved this, and enjoy that moment. I know in, I believe with IBJJF, like they've got this rule, and I know they do it in wrestling too, like where if you take off your gi jacket, like after a match, you can get penalized or disqualified or something. I actually strongly disagree with it.
Well, remember,
because these people are in this moment where they're like ecstatic. They're months, years, whatever it's take of such hard work. They're finally there, and it's like they want to do it. They want to set free. They want to release, and it's like no, you must do this and this and this, and it's like, well, where's the joy in it?
Yeah. Well, remember the USA soccer team, Brandy Chastain, when she tore her jersey off right after winning the gold medal. There was so many people that were against that and upset by it. And no, it's a beautiful, it's in the moment. They've worked so hard, male or female, they've worked so hard to achieve this. Let them have that moment. Why not? Right?
Absolutely. Because that's all that stuff is really the driving force of life. It's what keeps people moving in life. And I believe that there's a strong link between people or depression and lack of goal setting, actually. It's that lack of motivation. And when you have motivation to achieve things, that hunger for something new, success, learning, you've got to keep nourishing that. And then when you do reach those successful moments, just be in a society, hopefully, where we can just really allow that and be happy for that.
Let's talk about the motivation for a moment. So you are in the US and you're starting a family, and then life is not so pretty, but you continue driving through it. Well, it's not a secret. You have few businesses at this point. The things that you do is, in my opinion, completely ridiculous. I am a business freak, but you, to ask Gary, but you take it to a next level. Like, I feel like I'm a rookie. So what in the world, first of all, where do you have time to do all of this? That's my question, one. But two is, how do you balance your professional life and your home life? Because that, let's be honest for a moment, that has to be challenging. You travel a lot. You focus on running these businesses, and you do have your girls at home.
Yeah.
It's all this balance.
Yep. Yes. I've dealt with the most monumental setbacks that I'm not going to get into, but it's been incredibly hard. And especially when I'm here on my own, my whole family's on the other side of the world. But I'm very grateful for my default setting to be that when I am under extreme stress, I work. Some people can't do that. I actually become more hyper-focused. And so during some very, very challenging times in my life, I actually just put my head down and became even more productive. Like, the question I ask myself is, how can I make my situation better? You know what I mean? So, let's work. So over the time, I've just been building and building and building. I decided that to win these things in 2014 after coming back from babies. It was my last year of competing. I made a mission that that was going to be it, and I was going to move forward to the next step in my life, which was to actually become a career woman in Jiu Jitsu, which really hadn't been done. And because I wanted to do things on a deeper level, which was to use Jiu Jitsu as a vehicle to empower women. I didn't want women to go through what I went through, which is having to deal with that linear hierarchy and being put at the very end, and I wasn't, mind you, but I know that it could have been. Does that make sense? So being put to the corner and, oh, you're at the bottom of the line and you're inconvenienced. No woman should ever be made to feel like that. Also, the whole sexual harassment and crap. I could write a whole book. And then just having sisterhood and changing, like we talked about, changing the whole system so that it is a system where women can thrive, because that's how we're biologically wired. So that's when I started just running my own business, Sophia Fit. And I started launching my camps and seminars, and it was just amazing because I got to a point where I kept getting asked over and over and over to go teach. There was a demand for women to be out in the front teaching and being in that leadership position for other women. And so it just unfolded. On top of that, because of my work as a nutritionist, I'm a certified nutritionist with the National Academy of Sports Medicine and functional fitness trainer. I started taking on clients all around the world to help them have better lives, eating right, training right, resting. A lot of women, because they're very focused and driven, they think they have to prove themselves in this male dominated field, so they end up doing more than they should. What I mean is they end up overtraining, under eating, putting themselves through chronic stress, all the while having a job and children, and then not in a good position to really thrive. So that's also where I come in to say, hey, no, we need to recalibrate, we need to slow things down, we need hyper-focused training, you need to eat this, you need to do this. And so I come in and I change their lives and help them understand that they don't have to exhaust themselves to prove a point and be successful in this field. So there's three things I've been doing for a long time. And now I've launched Girls on Top, and I'll get to that in a minute. But as far as a balancing act, I think if it's not just me, but any woman that's working her way up in the career, there's always sacrifices she has to make with family life and career. And for me, it's been the ultimate juggle. I think for men who are married, it's easier because often they'll have that beautiful wife who's a support network for the children, for him. As a single mother, I absolutely do not have that. So it's been hard for me to figure out ways to do this. Well, how am I going to, a single mother with full custody, how am I going to do this? I've always figured out a way, like I just do, but I do have a wonderful nanny who helps me now. So that's really good.
Yeah, my dad wasn't in the picture. And when I look back now as an adult, especially now that my mom's gone, and I didn't take the time to tell her what an amazing job. And she went through a really, really rough young life, really bad.
Yeah.
So I think people need to slow down a little bit and look at what single mothers go through, especially the ones that don't have much support. And if you think it's easy, you're out of your mind. It's probably one of the hardest things to do by yourself. Think about how you feel as you go through life when you think you're failing, and to have to be alone with kids on top of it is incredible.
It's 100% on me all the time. Yeah. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
So I can't fail. Breaks? I can't even get sick.
Do you ever take breaks? Do you ever take vacations? Do you ever disconnect?
Yeah, I do. With kids, yeah, I do. But what gets me through is that I have a daily meditation every day.
Why don't we talk about that for a moment? So obviously, vision, goals, motivation, inspiration, those are important factors for us to continue driving forward. But what do you do on a daily basis to get your mind and your body in a place where it's functional, it operates to the level that you need it to operate? Because let's be honest, those levels will vary between people. Our goals are different, right? Not some people are getting motivated by sitting on the couch. No judgment, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
How do you do it to get the operational functionality?
I wake up in the morning and I ask myself this question of, what am I going to achieve today?
And do you is that literal? I mean, do you literally say that every day?
Yep.
Yeah.
What am I going to achieve today? what do I need to do today to get me closer to my goals? Sometimes my goals can vary though. So sometimes when I realize that I've just been working straight through or been doing really big travel stints, like 6 different cities in 6 different days, then my goal might be that day is what can I do to honor myself and, you know, self-love, feel rested. And do you know what I mean? But I'm very, very proactive of achieving my goals, realizing what I need to do for that day and achieving them.
Are you saying that nothing is random in your life?
Nothing. It is so compartmentalized. It's not funny. My meditation break it has a set purpose and function. Basically, I'm like an iPad that needs to be plugged in. Do not disturb me. Or else there'll be problems.
No, but there's
and then I get back to do what I do. Yeah.
There's a reason why I asked this, because there's a lot. I mean, it's surprising a lot to me. And I find myself as being organized, but there's a lot of people who are not. They shoot their life off their hip. They wake up in the morning forget about long-term purpose, but they don't even know what I'm going to do today. What's your plan for today? Oh, I don't know yet.
I don't know. Yeah.
And what do you say to them? Because I'm sure, do you interact with people like this?
Well, look, everyone has their own journey. Everyone's free to make choices in their lives. But since you're bringing this up, just for the viewers hearing this today, understand that if you're not actively making a choice, you're still actually making a choice.
Yep.
So at every moment of every day, your choices take you either closer to your goals, assuming you have them, or further away from your goals. And I use this with my clients who whinge and whine about not making their weight goals. I'm like, well, you know, it's only you that actually stuffs the food in your mouth. I mean, to be frank. So you're going to eat the chips or you're going to eat an apple. It's that simple. And so I think the hard part is for people who are goal driven, if they have big goals, is to understand how to increment them on a daily basis. And so I encourage people to set out their goals. What do they want in 5 years' time? Actually, what's their ultimate goal? Think about it. What do they want in 5 years' time? What do they want in 1 year's time? Okay, so let's break that down. What do they want? What do they think they can achieve in that month? Do you know what I mean? And then how's that broken down weekly? How's that broken down daily? This is all stuff I do with my clients to make things realistically achievable for them to hit their goals. And this translates into business, and it translates into all things in your life and other things you want to improve on, and maybe deviating or maybe not. But I think that the hardest thing really is improving who you are as a person, mental discipline, trying to be in the present moment, a reoccurring story from past trauma, like working on just changing that and getting rid of that and just evolving as a person. That also needs to be broken down into goals on daily practices.
Yeah, I think you nailed something really important and yet so underestimated by many. Is one, having a plan is not enough. It's actually breaking it down. We're not trying to change the world. We're trying to make this 1% change, this one minuscule little itty bitty change, but we do it every single day.
Yep.
You know, I remember when I was getting ready to open the academy years ago, and I put this entire plan together and it took us months, obviously, to get to the opening door. But I had a sticky notes on my mirror every single day, counting down days. And everybody who saw it, they're like, you're just an idiot. But that gave me such a fire, because I saw there was 100 days left. It's only 100 days. Darn it, it better get your stuff together. There's 90 days, 50 days, 30 days. Closer we were getting, more excited I was getting. But at the same time, there was this sense of anxiety, this sense of pressure. Like, we need to get things, like, this time is running out. You're not recouping this time. Nobody's going to give you another bucket of time.
Yeah.
And if you think about life in that aspect,
yes,
there is expiration time at some point.
Absolutely. Yep. And the one thing we can't ever get back, Thomas, is time.
Nope.
So you just got to make each moment count. That's it. It's beautiful. Yep.
And I think this is so easy to translate into jiu-jitsu. People often talk about, I can't train 6 times a week. COVID is happening right now. My gym is closed. There's always a reason not to train versus focus on this one little thing that you can do, whether it's read a jiu-jitsu book, watch a video, listen to a podcast, or maybe drill in front of the TV while you're watching or playing with your kids, do hip escapes, do bridges, whatever the case is.
Yes.
It takes 2 minutes. But if
That's
you do this every day,
yes,
everything
it's
will
choices,
change.
isn't it?
It is.
Exactly. And it's those little choices that you do daily, incrementally, that will make the difference long term.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
I honestly believe that it's this mindset that is what creates the most successful people on the planet. I mean, you speak to any millionaire, and I believe they've all got this mindset. Mm-hmm. Their happiness comes first. They've got their goals that are mapped out. Every day they're achieving something. But I do believe that there's some sort of meditating or something going on too, just clearing and refreshing, and then get back in their goals. I believe that this is what a lot of successful people do. Having said that, I'm still learning, and I've still got a long way to go. As far as I'm concerned, I'm only at the tip of the iceberg of where I want to be.
Well, I think this is a separate topic, which we're not going to have time to dip into, but it's just educational system should continue. I mean, this is not, I learn how to do things and now I'm done. Everyone should continue driving this and explore the opportunities of expanding their mind, getting a new skill sets, whatever that means to you as an individual, whatever your goals are. But the journey doesn't stop until you're done. And once you're done,
that's it.
You're done.
It doesn't.
What kind of done are you talking about?
The sad thing is that the journey does stop for a lot of people. A lot of people, they do high school, they get a job, they meet someone that might be right, might not be right, and they just check out on life. Like, they've literally stopped growing.
Yeah.
It's sad, but that's their choice too. Yeah, that's their choice. So, everyone, we can show people the light, but at the end of the day, everyone walks down their path, and all respect to them if that's the choice that they make. No judgment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, so you do all these beautiful things for women. You have Girls on Top, you have Sophia Fits, you have all these initiatives to continue driving the female-focused jiu-jitsu and fitness. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but that's kind of the high-level description of all of this, right? What is your end goal? What does Sophia want in 2 decades when you are, I don't know, after decades of jiu-jitsu, maybe walking is not so easy and you relaxing and you, what's your final goal?
All right. So Girls on Top is just launching, and the marketing hasn't even started yet. And right now I have women from all over the world who tune in with me and do jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu specific strength training and drilling. And so it's a live interactive platform, open for all, and it's just a way for women to come together and learn together. They can use it as a supplement for their training. They can use it as their only training, but I'm providing that community and the way of learning and everything that we've talked about on a platform for them. Okay. I am growing this to a point where it will be its own affiliation. So if women want to compete under Girls on Top, if women want to be graded by me all the way to black belt, that is the option. So my plan is to have this as a big scale thing. And then for other gyms to have it inside their gyms as like a co-affiliation for the women if they want. It's not taking away from anything. It's an addition. I am the least political person in the world about this because I've dealt with so much crap in my journey. Push, pull, you can't compete with that. You can't do that. It's like, yeah, you can do whatever. Do whatever. And if you want to add this, schools want to add it to their programs. Maybe not the jiu-jitsu, maybe they choose to just have the fitness aspect available for the women, right? It's whatever. These are the options that are offered. So what I plan is for this to be basically worldwide. Within schools and affiliations for women who want to have this as their
and I think
program.
it's a beautiful thing that you're creating this very agile platform where is a choice of people to join in if they choose to opt in into it. So let's be clear on this. Is this women focused only, or men are welcome in there too? That's a big question that's going to rise.
Yes. At this stage, it's women focused only. However, I am open if it evolves and grows more. And it really is based on feedback. So initially when I started teaching seminars, my seminars were women only. And then it was like, well, hang on, I want to join. I want to see what like 125-pound woman is teaching. So then it opened up. And so for all my travels, I taught a co-ed seminar and a women's only workshop. So we'll see where it goes. And I think it's important to just be open. But what I do want to achieve is something on a big scale. I think what I have to offer based on my extensive years of being in the fitness industry and nutrition and jiu-jitsu, teaching women-specific jiu-jitsu, I do have a lot to offer. And I would like the opportunity to share that. So that's the end goal with that. But also Fighting Fit will be launched, and that is a women's only self-defense platform for women who do not train jiu-jitsu. It's self-defense only, and I'm equipping with people with a skill set so that they can basically defend themselves if they need to. And that I plan on actually launching on a grander scale because there's more women.
I think we need more people like you in my vision. I mean, it's like there should be more people who do amazing things like you. And I'm not saying this just because we've known each other for many years, but you really are making an impact here. Let me ask you one more question.
I hope so.
And this might not be an easy one. So you obviously steering little feathers here. You're creating something that's a little rebellious. I mean, you are creating something that is not fitting the mold of decades of jiu-jitsu, old school jiu-jitsu, new school jiu-jitsu. You're creating something very different. Right, wrong, like it, don't like it, it doesn't matter, but you are.
Yes.
Do you think this is going to upset a lot of people?
I do. But I will be in a position of leverage that it won't bother me, and I don't care.
And that's what I love. That's
you don't. Because what I'm providing is nothing but empowerment for women. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My one mission is to empower women and make them feel good about themselves and their health and fitness journey, making their jiu-jitsu journey easier, and also helping women be empowered by learning skills that can literally save their lives. Right. I want women to walk out of my programs with their head held high going, yes, I got this, which then translates to their work, which then translates to their relationships. They might be in relationships where they're too afraid to speak up and actually tell their partner what their needs are. It all works together. And so, yes, I don't fit the mold, but I never have. And if there's male instructors in this jiu-jitsu field that see what I'm doing, and they already are, and like they're like, ooh, especially if I'm like completely launch a whole affiliation, there will be a lot of upsets. But I will be in a position by then where I feel like, because if their clients are coming in daily for Girls on Top, it's daily, right? And I will be in a position, I think, where it's like, this is what I'm doing. It's this popular, this many members will like it or love it. They're your choices.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. I mean, everybody was laughing at Amazon when it was selling books, and every time you would tank and look at Amazon now, it's the same thing. Same case with Elon Musk shooting rockets up to the moon and coming back with them. Same thing with Apple. Everybody laughed when there was no buttons on the phone, and yet everybody has it today. So there's nothing wrong, with starting something brand new and something unorthodox, because that's essentially what is one way to look at this, right? But it's very, very empowering where there's so much passion behind it, as you have shown in the past, and you continue building this.
Yeah. Well, it's extremely obvious to me. There is no system. There actually is no system. There's no fundamental system worldwide for women's self-defense. There's a lot of men teaching it as part of like jiu-jitsu offshoots or Krav Maga or whatever. What I want to do is come in and create a system that's run by women, owned by a woman. And part of this is the instructors are only women. So it's just a safe space for women to thrive, because it's going to bring up a lot of emotional trauma for a lot of people, and offer women jobs. So the more people that are part of this organization, the more I feel like I'm uplifting and empowering women, because it provides them jobs and it empowers the other women with this skill set. And so, yeah, if I do get backlash and stuff, like, it doesn't bother me one bit, because my mission behind this is nothing but it's coming from a good place, basically.
Good for you. Good for you. You are making an impact, and that's the key.
So that's my vision. It's quite big. You know, I want my businesses to be worldwide, ideally. And I also, from another perspective, because I've done that work in myself and everything, I'm not afraid to reach that point where I get to where I want to be successful, like financially successful as well. Does that make sense? Absolutely. And I think we've got this stereotype also that needs to be smashed. And we talked about a little bit like stifling your success, like not being able to rip your jersey off after a match. But when you're doing work that's helping people, okay, there is this fundamental idea that you can't actually be financially rewarded from it, because you're actually taking away the whole sort of helpful spiritual element. Well, this all turns back into honoring yourself. Like, why on earth would you bust your ass day in, day out building something to not actually reap any rewards from it and honor yourself while you're honoring everyone else? Do you know what I mean?
I agree 100%. I mean, every work should be compensated, and compensated is a very open term here, but it whether it turns into dollars or time or rewards, whatever the case is, every work should be compensated. The question is, how do you as individual value yourself, right?
That's it.
And I personally disagree with releasing free stuff and all that stuff. I mean, it's great. I get it why it's done. I understand supporting community and creating traffic towards specific cause. Like, I understand all of this, but I think every instructor has a knowledge and experience, and by them sharing it with others, they should be rewarded for it. There's so 100% good instructors out there, and I'm specific talking jiu-jitsu, but we can dig into swimming, running, all the other stuff. There's so many coaches and instructors and teachers who are not rewarded for their hard work and expertise.
100%. And I think it's actually quite rife in this industry that is jiu-jitsu. And that's also my end goal. If you ask me what my end goal is, my end goal really is to, in the end, be seen as a successful businesswoman that's broken so many barriers, that I've actually made a successful career, both physically, energetically, and financially in a male-dominated field, to show other women that it can be done if that's what you want to do. And so there's this idea in this industry, jiu-jitsu, of lack, and self-entitlement. It's really interesting. Like, I deserve this, but I don't want to pay for it. And so you get these business savvy people like you, who you're probably confronted with this often, and you got to stand your ground and be like, no, like, I'm a business person. And we should all be compensated for our hard work and dedication. And if everyone sort of comes together and realizes that all hard work and dedication need to be compensated, and you're going to get so much more value with it, everyone's going to be thriving as well.
I think that's often underestimated kind of statement is, if teachers don't get compensated, and I'm not talking about jiu-jitsu only, again, this is a broader topic, but if teachers don't get compensated for their work, they will not be teaching. The quality of teaching goes down. The education goes down. And this kind of dips into the problems and obstacles that we have in the actual education system today.
100%. I don't believe that the teachers are being paid enough for what they do. God, no. Yep. So it's also spinning that idea of, hey, you can be a successful business person in this industry and be unapologetic about it.
Yeah. I 100%.
So there we go.
I 100% agree. Sophia, we've been at this for over an hour. I mean, we need like 5 episodes to talk to you, because there's so much to talk to you about. But what an amazing. Listen, if this episode doesn't motivate women to continue to start jiu-jitsu or continue doing jiu-jitsu to change their life with what you offer, I don't know what will. I mean, this is mind-blowing to me. Matter of fact, as we post this on, all of our, all the platforms on the podcast, I would love for some people to actually get on our website and comment on this and generate a conversation. I'm actually curious what people would think about this, everything that you do.
I think it's gonna, like you said earlier, I think ruffle some feathers, but I want people to understand that empowering others doesn't mean that your power is being taken away, right? We talked about waves earlier too. We can all rise together instead of beating each other down.
100%.
And what you're doing, when you said you wanted to make it kind of Girls on Top, kind of an affiliate within other schools, I think is amazing because it gives people a place to go to bring themselves up. And I think within that school, you're going to have guys that are going to say, what is this? Why are we even doing this? Why can't I be a part of it? Like they want to turn it around. Right. And I think that when it starts happening, it's going to open eyes and people are going to be like, no, you know what? We can all do this together.
Yeah. Look, it's what I want to do. I think it just provides more exposure to be able to empower more women. But at the same time, nothing is forced and people can choose where they want to be within the Girls on Top. Like if they don't want to affiliate, they don't want to affiliate. If they just want to do one little aspect or all of it or whatever, it's whatever works for the individual. But my aim is to get to that level where I can provide that service because it hasn't been done. I feel it needs to be done. And that's it. And whether I achieve it or not, look, I hope I do, but I see it and I want to achieve it and I hope it happens. And if people think I'm silly,
well,
like I said, it's their problem. Honestly, it's their problem. Because
in my vision is not if, but when. That's how I look at, from a business perspective. It's if you have vision, if you have passion, if you have a plan and execution, it's not if, it's when. And continue pushing that forward. It's going to be highly successful to you. We'll be sitting on the sidelines and watching you grow and explode with these great ideas that you have. Listen, Sophia, we've been at this for over an hour.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, we have 5 questions for you. And we didn't tell you this. We never do. This is kind of a surprise. Some of them are silly. Some of them are not. We want you to answer them. The first thing that comes to your mind, and often it just creates an interesting end to the show. So Gary will kick that off if you don't mind.
Yes.
Okay.
Here we go. What was it like the first time you stepped on the mat?
It was interesting. And I had a few roles and I realized that this was my path. I found my path. Yeah. And that's when I made my statement in my head and to others around me. Big, bold statements.
Yeah. A very big, bold statement. And that brings me to, and we're going to go out of order because it brings me to this next question. And what was it like? Describe your feelings when you received your black belt.
Awesome. I don't know. Fantastic. I'd realized that I had achieved one of my biggest goals. Yeah. The first day I started, which was I will be Australia's first female black belt. I'd done it. Yep. But I also do know that there was no doubt in my mind and it was just a matter of time. Great. What was your most rewarding achievement? There's been quite a few, but they're more about resilience behind the scenes of dealing with some hardcore crap and just keep persevering. In fact, I've got perseverance tattooed on my foot when I did get my black belt. But probably from a competing level, I competed in the Pan Ams, won the Pan Ams, my last one, with 2 little babies, and that was hard. It was very hard to train like that. I can only imagine. little baby and an obnoxious toddler who never ever had naps.
Have you ever wanted to quit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but it was due to hardcore politics. It's the system of me being this rogue, and I literally had championships ripped off me. Right, I was like, I can't deal with this because I didn't fit the mold, being this unaffiliated kind of rogue gringo.
doing what you want, or doing it yourself, right? And
Yeah,
that's
just doing my thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Understand. All right, and then here's the last one. Do you wash your belt?
Do I wash my belt? No, I do not.
All right.
We keep
down.
tallying.
Yeah, wash my
Gary's
belt.
desperately
So
losing this.
So I am.
Oh, did you guys have a bet?
Yeah,
No.
well, we keep tally between all the guests, and Gary's losing desperately right
So
now.
I haven't been.
All right, so I'm curious. Who have you asked that actually washes their belt, or maybe? You should
I don't know. Should we call people out or not? But
there are a few who said yes, and that's fine, I guess.
Really?
But yeah, that's fine, I guess.
The people who have said yes are people that haven't been around as long. We'll put it that way. Or their focus is in jiu-jitsu. It might be MMA or something like that. So the belt itself doesn't carry the weight, I think, that it does for somebody who is jiu-jitsu focused. So
I just think you're washing away the essence.
Yeah.
If it's stinky, just put it outside in the sun for a while. Oh boy, old school. That's it. I love it.
Thank you.
On that note, we're gonna wrap this up. Sophia, thank you for being here. Where can people find you quickly? Give a shout out. Website, social media. Where can people find you? Connect with you more. Obviously, we're gonna put all of this in the description notes of the episode, so you can click on there. But tell us.
Girls on Top is girls-ontop.com. Please take a look at the amazingness of this. Everyone gets a free training dummy, live workouts, live jiu-jitsu. So girls/ontop.com. My other fitness nutrition stuff is sophiafit.com. Yep.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Go check it out. Sophia, thank you for being here once again. Beautiful story. And again, anytime you are in Chicago, you should stop by, and we need to organize that trip.
My very
love it
for a while. So
love it. I love Chicago.
Yeah, my very first seminar was Sophia's, and it was it opened my eyes to how passionate people could be about this sport. And that's why I keep coming. So thank you so much. And also, I told you this before. Thank you for everything you do. I have an 8-year-old girl who trains, and because of you, she's got someone that she can really look up to. So thank you for that as well.
That makes my heart sing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, actually, just before we close up, I want to thank you guys so much for the opportunity and allowing me to share my story, as crazy as it might sound to others. And just, really honoring everyone in the jiu-jitsu community and women as well. So in my time of knowing Thomas, the first thing that struck me was that you were like a really, really honoring human being. So we need more people like you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Can you repeat that one more time so Gary can hear?
No, I don't need to hear it. I don't need to hear it.
No, because you guys are giving women like me opportunity. You understand? And so this is how it all works together. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you guys.
We love to have you on the show. This is an amazing story. We'll have more of you. And this is why we do this. This is why we spend, an hour once a week to talk to different people, get to know their stories, because there was so much untold in the jiu-jitsu community, particularly, that we just simply want to get that message out there. So
wonderful. Well, thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you, Sophia.
Take care.
Thank you.
It was wonderful. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to RŌL Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.